The first question will come from Zachary Powell. Zachary?
Hey, Stetson, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Stetson, you obviously played well, past game, and then even though you all lost to Alabama the first time, what is it going to be? What is it going to be like going against their defense for the second time? And what is it looking like in practice right now in terms of prep wise 1 week from the game?
It's the same schedule that we've been having. As to the game, what it's going to be like, I'm not sure. They're going to be a great team, just like they were the first time. And I think just the key to it is just who comes out and executes better.
Next, we'll hear from Dan Mathews. Dan?
Hey, there it is. Stetson, you seem to have a real sense of who you are. And is that something that you try to really get out there to people? And do you feel like that's what endears you to your teammates and your coaches?
I don't know. I've always kind of felt like you can't really, maybe some people can tell people what to think about, me or something. I mean, I just kind of am who I am. And, I try to be the best person I can be, football and, in life. And, I don't really know why people like me, but if that's why it is, then, so be it.
Next will be Clint Shamblin. Clint?
Stetson, Clint Shamblin, Locked On Bulldogs. One of the things that we saw against Michigan was an incredible blocking scheme on the edge that really freed guys up. What was practice like in that offensive week leading up that really made that crisp for you guys, that opened up the offense?
Yeah, I mean, first things first, we can't do anything on either side of the ball if we don't win up front. I mean, that's the start of football. It always has been, it always will be. And we knew that they had those two guys on the edge, and we knew they were going to be coming from my head. And, Jamari and Warren and all the other guys inside, they took a challenge. They kind of, felt slighted a bit by the Joe Moore Award going to Michigan. And they knew what everybody was writing and what everybody was saying, that, they would, those two guys would ruin the game for us. And, they took it as a personal challenge, and they were focused and locked in the whole week. And they played their butts off.
Next, we'll hear from Zach Klein. Zach?
Hey, Stetson, two things. One, did you need that Michigan performance? Did you need that at all for any reinforce any, maybe 1% of 1% doubt that you might have had coming off the SEC game? And on a jokingly side, you hear from any heart surgeons out there asking for some advice?
No, I thought, like I said, after the game, I thought I played all right in the SEC championship game. I made a few mistakes that you can't do against a good team, but I also made some really good throws, good decisions, and so my main focus going into the Michigan game was cleaning up on the mistakes and, keep doing what I had been doing well. There's no personal doubt. I knew what I had to do. I felt like I needed to play that well to beat a team like Michigan because of who they are and how talented they are. But it wasn't to prove anything to me that I could play quarterback in this league. And no heart surgeon reached out, unfortunately.
Next up will be Seth Emerson. Seth?
Stetson, I think as far as your offensive skill position players around you, Zamir White is only 12th in the SEC in rushing yards, and Brock is only 9th in receiving yards. But so much of that, obviously, as you know, is that guys kind of cannibalize each other's stats because you have so many. Do you all ever go into a game with kind of a plan on, we want to get this guy X amount of touches, we want to showcase this guy X amount of times, or something along those lines to kind of spread out things?
No, we know the guys that we have on our team who we think are game changers. And so we want to get the ball in those guys' hands. But as far as like when the play starts, I throw it to who's open. I'm not, there are certain times when it's man to man, it's matchups when you think you have, the matchup that you want, then you go there. But it's never we haven't gotten this guy as many touches as he needs. Maybe Monk calls a game like that. Maybe he calls a few plays like that. I'll leave that to him. But when the ball snaps for me, unless it's those specific matchups scenarios, I just read it out and I throw it to the guy I think's open. And I think that's a strength of this team on offense and defense. Our defensive scheme doesn't, like Michigan, they wide rush. They those two guys go for sacks. Us, we play more complementary defense, and I think same way on offense. Brock's obviously had, I think maybe the greatest year for a tight end in Georgia history. But like you said, I mean, Zamir doesn't have, the yardage in the SEC ranking, but we're in the national championship, so I think our guys kind of know what matters. And if we're scoring points and if we're stopping people from scoring points, doesn't really matter who's getting the credit as long as the team's doing well. And I think our guys really understand that.
Next, we'll hear from Michael Casagrande. Michael?
Yeah, how does the preparation change or vary when you're playing a team for a second time? Is it something you've ever done before, maybe at the high school level?
I mean, I guess it'll change, but watching a good bit of the previous game. But as far as the schedule and what I'm going to watch day to day, no, that's not going to change. And to answer your question, no, I've never. I don't believe played the same team twice in a season. But no, the preparation is going to be the same. The respect's going to be the same. How we go about our day to day is going to be the same. That's what's got us here, and that's what we're going to stick with.
Next will be David Hale. David?
Hey, Stetson. Thanks for doing this. You're a Georgia guy. You know the history of the program. Do you have a sense of sort of the magnitude of what this means to people in Georgia, long-suffering Georgia fans? And of course, you were there in 2017, and when Alabama sort of crushed those hopes on this stage before. Does that bear any meaning as you kind of get ready for this game? Is it sort of in the back of your mind, the history that comes with it?
Maybe I'm not capable of holding that kind of weight on my shoulders, but no, I'm just treating this as a football game. Do I know this means a lot to a lot of people? Yes. Am I trying to play some kind of savior by winning a national championship for millions of people? No, I don't think that's my job. My job is to go out there and throw completions to very talented people we have on this team. And I think it's as simple as that. So, yes, I know it means a lot to a lot of people. Is it just another game? No, I'm not silly. But, I don't think, for 20-year-old kids, you can put that kind of pressure on yourself because you might go crazy. So I'm just treating it as another game, and I'm preparing my butt off, and everybody on this team is. But the reason we're doing that is because we respect the heck out of Alabama and the team that they are. And we know we're going to have to give it our best shot to win this game.
Next will be Connor Riley. Connor?
we go. Hey Stetson, thanks for doing this. Coaches say all the time that recruiting stars or your recruiting ranking doesn't matter when you show up, but from a player perspective, how, I guess, aware are you of that, and how, if at all, does it, factor into, hey, I should be playing earlier, or I should be playing over this guy?
Well, I can't speak to the 5 stars in the room. I wasn't one. I mean, yeah, coaches say that, but it's like, those guys are going to get every opportunity to fail before, a walk-on gets an opportunity to succeed. I put it that way. Which is, I mean, it's just business. It's, if you recruit all these 5 stars and then you play walk-ons over every single one of them, who's to say the next 5 stars not going to see that and not come here? And I mean, usually 5 stars are better than walk-ons. That's typically how it goes. But I don't know. I think our team does a good job of, our players do a good job of not really worrying about 5-star who, this and that when you walk in the door. Because, all that stuff's over. It's wiped out. I don't know who our 5 stars are from this last class. I don't know any recruiting. I know we did well, like we typically do, because our staff does a great job, but I don't know who was ranked where, because I really don't care. And I'll tell you, every single senior on this team feels the same way. So I'm sure the coaches are aware, and every single media person in the entire universe is aware. But no, the players are not aware.
Next will be Matt Baker. Matt.
Hey Stetson, what has Coach Monken meant for your development over this year?
Tons. He's a great coach, extremely knowledgeable. There was a lot of times where I wasn't playing, so I kind of had to take that development on my own and do that stuff. But the meeting time and just listening to him talk, because he does like to talk, but just listening to him talk in the meetings, that's invaluable. Those things are, that's why he gets paid what he gets paid, is to just talk to people like us, to make us better. And then obviously the play calling, but just sitting there trying to be a sponge, trying to write down everything I can write down, trying to, learn from somebody who's been in this business for 35 years at the highest level. It's been, obviously I'm a lot better than I was last year, so it's helped.
Next will be Chip Towers. Chip.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry, Stetson. Yeah, a little bit more on playing a second time. Obviously you want to play better against Alabama, but you don't know that you're going to see the same stuff that you saw from Alabama last time, but you might. Tell me about the line that you and Coach Monken and everybody are sort of tiptoeing about. Do we expect him to do this again? And we need to do this better. I'm sure that gets really down in the weeds before we all finally get to this game, right?
I'm sorry, pardon me. What is the question?
The question is how difficult is it playing somebody second, or do you know yet about the complications of, not knowing if they're going to be doing the same things or if they're going to do things slightly different this time?
Right. I guess are you going to outsmart yourself, right? Are you going to overthink everything? No, we are not. Obviously, when we go out on the field, would I prefer for Alabama, if they're going to change anything up, to send us an email this week? I would love that, but I assume that they won't. So we're going to prepare with what they've put on tape, and obviously other, we're going to stick with their tendencies just the same way I do every week, and be ready to adjust. Say they come out in completely different defense, but I'd be willing to bet that they're not, because we're here in the national championship. They're not going to change up and go, all, Arkansas on us. They're not going to do that. They're going to be Alabama, and we're going to be Georgia, and we're going to see who executes better. And if there is a wrinkle come Monday night from either side, then, whoever adjusts best to that will win the football game.
Next will be Anthony Dasher. Anthony.
Hey, Stetson, sorry about that. Just wondering, no, Coach Mark throughout this whole season has had your back every single time. We've asked, about you. What does that mean to you to have your head coach, have your back like that?
Feels good. Obviously, it's better than the other way. It feels nice, and I appreciate it from him.
All right. And our final question will be from Heather Dinich. Heather.
Stetson, you're clearly very level-headed about the big picture here, but I'm wondering if you and your family have had a time to talk about, appreciate where you have come from, where you are right now, and the opportunity that's in front of you, and what it means to you on a personal level.
No, we haven't had time to sit down and break it all down. I'm sure that'll be a long talk. But I appreciate everybody giving my story so much, attention, but, every single player on this team, even though they're more highly recruited, they all came from a little high school with no, besides, the players with the ginormous high schools, but like most of the guys on our team came from small schools in Georgia. They haven't seen the splendor of a college football national championship yet. They never had experienced that. Maybe they went to the Army All-American game, but they've been working just as hard as I have for just as long as I have. So, to answer your question, no, we haven't sat down and talked about it. But it's not like I'm the only one who has done so much for themselves because of where they started. Every single player on this team has worked hard to get to play in the national championship. And, hopefully after this season, after this game, hopefully we play well enough to beat a great Bama team. And then hopefully every single one of us can sit down and just talk about, wow, did you see how bright those lights were? That was pretty awesome. So, we'll see when that time comes.